Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I gotta be honest with you. You have come from A to Z on this presentation, just commanding of the words coming out. You know what I mean? And it's just with practice. Would you say?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, man. Well, it's the more you do it, right? It's like everything else. The more you do it, the better you become at it, right?
You
It's
crushing
it's
it.
like investing in real estate, right? The more the more deals you do, the better you become at it, and the more successful you become, right?
That's true. That is true. Come on in, round up homies. Come on in. I was just watching that video again on Baltimore. The way you was just spitting, and I remember back in the day. It's just been you know what? It's just been a year since we met.
2 years, is it? I think
No,
it's
we met
two
in
years.
19.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. And we
This
were
feels
supposed to
long.
have the year
Yeah,
this
in
May.
July. Right.
July. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So time goes fast.
If Chris, I got to tell you, there's some people you meet and it feels like you've known longer, right? And that's the way I feel about you and your brother, especially.
Yep.
Um,
Feels
if
good
for
to meet
no,
you.
if for nothing else, that conference paid off just because of this relationship, in my opinion.
I'm telling you. And it's good to meet people that they're not needy. Like, damn, I need you to, I need your help do this deal. Well, for me, it is. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn.
Hmm.
Round
How
up. Come on in, huh?
how'd you do with that termite situation? So was it what I told you? You had to open up the wall, and
Yeah,
you
we
figured
opened
it
the
out.
wall and pulled all this stuff down. Had to sister the wood. It's just another day at the office, right?
Yeah, it looked like though when you showed me the picture, it looked more like it was dormant. Was it dormant or was it
Yeah,
active?
it wasn't active.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
been
good
gone.
thing.
The people, man. It's crazy how you get into these houses. It always amazes me at what and how they will live, Dan. You know?
Well, that's why people like you and I do well, right? Because of bad choices
Yeah.
of other individuals' bad choices. And the crazy part is they're comfortable living like that. You and I wouldn't, but it's amazing to me.
It's amazing. I'm thinking about like when I have something wrong with my I remember my old partner used to say, Chris, your house needs to be badass. You need to make sure all your stuff is good.
Yeah.
I didn't understand him at first, but I'm like, now I'm like, man, I want tile, I want this, I want new roof, I want my windows to be flawless, I want my grass, I want my doors. Because if your joint ain't sexy, why you doing it?
It's funny though. I want my house to be sexy. My problem is I just don't have the time to make it sexy.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
wife is just fighting with me. She says, "How many kitchens you put in this year?" And I said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. Where's this going? Stop,
Never good.
stop." She goes, "I've been asking for a new kitchen for 5 years." I said, "Yeah, but you're not my tenants. You don't pay rent."
You don't pay me no money. My wife is, it's weird, damn, living this life. Like we do, my wife sees like I don't even want to show her what I do in these
Yeah,
kitchens. I'm like, you don't want to see it. You
yeah.
don't want to see it.
The thing is with my wife, I can't just go and pick it and do it. It's like I said, no, 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 no. Like you go pick the cabinets, you go pick the floors. When it's all in the garage, then I'll do it because they don't have the understanding. Like she doesn't have an understanding of like this has to go, then this has like every labor like the plumbers, electricians, the tile, the sheetrocker, the blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And then like if one is delayed, it delays, and then you lose your electrician. Oh well, I got another job next week. You're gonna have to wait 2 weeks. Like,
Oh man.
so it's like no, when you have everything and you know what you want me to do, just tell me and I'll get it done. But when everything's in the garage,
You're just a piece of crap, man. You
so
ain't
I
worth
don't have to
nonsense.
wait. I don't have to wait for you to make any decisions on cabinetry styles or paint.
Oh
No,
Lord.
you know. So yeah, I could do a lot more kitchens than she could decide on which one she wants.
Round up family, greetings, class, greetings. That is the life of a real estate investor. We have to do this all day and then come home and we ain't nobody. Just
Yeah, pick up your socks.
pick up your sock. I remember you said that one. Round up. I am Chris Haskins. My mission and ministry is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. Tonight's broadcast, I just wanted to bring on my boy Daniel Barrero. What up, my friend?
How are you, brother? Nice to be here.
Yeah, good to see you. Always an honor to be in your presence.
No, the honor's all mine of being yours, man. Chris Haskins, almost 70,000 followers. Chris, you're the man. subscribers.
Man, it's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy. I will tell you, this life is something I never thought I would be here, but we're here, right?
That's right.
So today I want to talk to you guys about private money. What is it? And Daniel's going to give you a little bit of background on it. I know about him. Matter of fact, I'll tell you some, and then he can fill in the pieces. Daniel, my guest tonight, has been a real estate investor since 1989. He invests in 3 states: New York, New Jersey, and Florida. He's one of my mentors. I like to hang out with people smarter and richer than me. So tonight you get to hang out with him and ask him questions too. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, love it. I love this type of platform.
Yeah. And before we get started, make sure in the video description, I'm going to give you 25% off of my private lending presentation. Our private money masterclass is tomorrow, December 10th, 4 o'clock. Get registered. Well, you don't even have to register. Just make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. But if you want the documents, you need to have that. The discount will last until tomorrow. And there's a link for you to sign up to be on our email list. If you're already on our email list, it's no need to rejoin. But I will be giving away 2 free 1-year subscriptions to Propstream. That's going to be a $1,200 value to 2 people, and we're going to do it December 23rd. So go in the link in the video description to get signed up for that. All right, paying the bills. Dan,
talk to me.
Background, just give us a little bit of your back. I gave them some, but 1989. Paint that picture for us when you were getting the climate. Give me the climate as you were getting started.
In 1989, interest rates was 16 to 19%. Very few banks were actually lending money, especially to real estate investors, because the banks had really taken a bath and a beating on the recession before, where they found that real estate investors were walking away, similar to what happened to 2008. So the restrictions were very tight. Interest rates were very high. You needed a huge down payment. So it's funny because, you asked me before, did I go to the banks when I started? And my response to you was like, I did. And I think you asked me, well, how did it go? And I said, it wasn't very helpful, because the answer was always no. So, we had to come up with like 35%. And the only bank that was lending money to us at the time in New York for mixed-use properties, which is storefronts on the bottom and residential on top, was a bank called Greenpoint Savings Bank. But they used their own in-house appraisers. So if the property was worth, for simplistic term numbers, $100,000, they, appraisers have anywhere between 5 and 10%, is my understanding of a leeway. So they would come in at that lower 10%. So they would appraise it at 90, which really meant then if you wanted the property, either you renegotiated the deal or you had to come up with more money. So yeah, it was extremely difficult. But you manage and you make it happen.
So I like private money to the death, right? I very rarely use banks at this point in my career. I've got more capital than I have real estate to buy. And I want you to tell me, you didn't start off with 300 doors, and that's why I love you're just a normal guy, everyday guy, going to work, managing properties. Tell me about how you put together your financing starting out, Daniel, for those of us that are just starting or kind of at the beginning of their career, or even trying to expand private money, friends and family. I know you mentioned that. Just tell me a little bit about your thought process as we move into just how you're raising money.
In the beginning, it was, extremely difficult. So I'll give you the example of the second property we bought. So we bought our first property in 1989. It was a 2-family pre-war construction. Actually, you saw that property, Chris, when you were in New York. We bought it from Greenpoint Savings Bank. Actually, it was a foreclosure, and I didn't know anything about how to negotiate. I was just going based on feeling, gut, and we didn't do too bad. We bought that for $72,000.
Well, it was on the main street there, Dan. I mean, it's hard to look. Well, were you like this on the main street? Did you think of that at the time?
No, I knew the neighborhood because I grew up in the neighborhood, but the neighborhood was extremely infested with a lot of crack cocaine. It was during that time period, and a lot of the buildings had been taken down because the city was tired of kicking out the drug addicts the drug dens that were in there, or they would be put on fire. So a lot of the properties were vacant lots. A lot of them were boarded up.
Wow.
So it was pretty
New York
pretty
City.
depressing, but I lived it. I was living there. To me, it was just a matter of the way life was at the time. So if you're thinking back, it was depressing, but at the time it wasn't, if that makes sense. And I happened to be walking up the corner. I saw the sign. I called up and we put the property in contract. Having said that, the second property a year later we purchased was in Park Slope, Brooklyn. It was much higher price point, and it was and I didn't know what I was doing. I almost declared bankruptcy because of that property, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
It was a horrible situation I found myself in. And what got me out of that situation was private money, and it was my grandmother. I remember I almost fell off my chair when my aunt called me and said, my mother said to give you $70,000. I was like, what do you mean she said to give me 70,000? I never thought my grandmother even had 7,000, let alone 70,000, right? So
get out of here.
My father said, I'll just tell my mother to give it, lend it to us. And I was like, she's not going to have that kind of money. But my grandmother, she lived such a frugal life. She worked, 2-3 jobs her entire life. And that's why she had it. So, so what we did was instead of borrowing it from my grandmother, what I did was we went back to the bank. I said, you know what, let me go to the bank. And she was with Chase Bank at the time. And what they did was, and I didn't know what I was going to ask. I didn't know what I was asking for. I was looking for alternative ways, right? Because I didn't want to borrow that from her. Mm-hmm. And the person at the branch was kind enough to educate me a little bit. And what we did was they used her money as collateral. So she couldn't withdraw that money, that $70,000. But at the time, the bank was paying 5 3/4% interest
on a CD.
No, that was a regular savings account back then. Believe it or not, we're talking about 1990.
Frame that up.
They were paying the banks were paying between 5 1/4 and 5 3/4% on interest, and that was actually normal.
Gosh.
That was normal for a regular savings account. That's not a CD. CDs were at 6-7%, sometimes higher. I remember them going up to 9% at one point.
On a savings account.
Well, if you put it into a CD. Now, a regular savings, like a passbook account, regular savings account was between 5 1/4 and 5 3/4. So if you went to like a local bank, they were at 5 1/2, 5 3/4. Municipal banks were a little higher. Commercial banks like Chase, City, they were at 5 1/4, 5.75. So what we did.
1 second, Dan. 5%. 5%. Then what are those same accounts today? It's just so
less than 1%, like 0.25%, and depending if you have depending on the amount, but it's never more than 1%. I'm sure you know that already.
Well, I know. Yeah, I mean, I got literate over the years, but I didn't know that 0.1% round up. So we're talking about apples and oranges back then. I just want to frame this up to the climate that Dan was in at the time. 5%. Say if I can get 5% on the savings account, wow.
Yeah, pretty much. So you would double your money if you left $100,000 in, if I remember correctly, in 14 years, you would double your money.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
So
we're talking about doubling money now. 100 years.
That's right.
100 years.
Yeah, forget about it. You're losing money leaving your money in the bank.
Gotcha.
So essentially, the person there was kind enough to educate me a little, and she brought to my attention that if we left my grandmother's money as collateral, where she could continue to get that over 5% interest, they would lend me money at 3.5%.
Gotcha.
So that's what they did. That's what I did. I took a 3.5% loan.
Based on her collateral with the capital in there.
Right. So the money's always stayed in there. And so the loan was for 5 years. I paid it off in 3 years.
Wow. So you're doing a hybrid of some type of a private loan. You didn't borrow her money. You put the money in the bank and then borrow the bank's money based on her collateral. Right.
So her account, the money never came out of her account. Right. Mm-hmm. Which made me feel good, and I'm sure it made her feel good. She would have never told me otherwise. And then of course, as you pay down the loan, it's less money. Her collateral is held for collateral.
They release it.
Right. But she never used it. She was,
I,
I give my grandmother a lot of credit. I give her
something,
so
right?
much credit. Yeah.
Like ants. I mean, I'm not comparing her to an ant, but it's like the ant. They just little by little.
Yeah.
I look at like the squirrels.
Yeah.
One nut here. I promise you can learn a lot from nature. One peanut here. One little peanut can add up to just $1 million.
That's right.
Oh man. So Daniel, I want to know. We got 100 people on here watching. Your grandmother, and I mean, obviously, I could talk about my experiences, but I wanted to talk about the thought process of the thinking that you didn't expect her to have any money. A lot of us think we're in the same financial position as others. Tell me about how you thought about that and how.
Well, she came here from Puerto Rico. She really never commanded the English language very well, enough for her to get by.
Mhm.
But she worked in factories her whole life. She lived below her means, obviously. But I mean, when she eventually, when she retired, she went back to Puerto Rico, bought a house for cash, lived a very modest life, but everything was all paid for. There was no dependence on her kids in any form, fashion, or way. Because, so I attribute my success to all the people that came before me, right?
Standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah. My grandparents, my great grandparents, they all sacrificed. My parents, they all sacrificed for every generation to do a little better, right? And they did it so humbly, like you never know what those sacrifices are because they never told you what they were, right? And yet they cheered and enjoyed watching you in the spotlight as you made your achievements. So, I attribute my success to my ancestors on both sides of my family. Why? Because they gave me the example of how to live below your means, how to think outside the box, and how to prepare for the future. Things are going to happen. It's a matter of how you handle them. So yeah, I contribute all my success to them.
So for us and I think of all the people that every time, like when I have an intake for my inner circle, I ask them, it's a question, do you know anybody, friends or family that you could ask them to invest with you? And I would say 9 out of the 10 applications that I get down on the questionnaire would say, I don't know anybody.
So I would say, well, let me ask you, Chris, I'll ask you, when you started with developing private money lenders, how difficult was that for you? Was it difficult that you knew people had money, you were too afraid to ask? Or was it an uncomfortable situation? Because that's what my problem was. I was extremely uncomfortable with that. But I quickly got over that. And when I got over it was when people started coming to me to ask me if they could lend me money.
Yeah, I don't want to go there yet. Please don't even.
Yeah.
They're not even ready. They are so way away from that, which is where we're at now.
Right.
Please don't go there, Daniel.
Right.
Stay
well,
back
I'm
to
talking about family and friends, right? So people that I would have never thought would want to lend me money. After I did my first deal, I struggled through it. It wasn't too crazy. The second deal I did, where I almost went into bankruptcy, and Chris, I got to tell you, man, it was thank God I had a wife that was understanding.
You told me about that.
Yeah, because we gave up. I was selling anything in the house I could possibly sell to pay the bills. I got rid of a really nice my dream car, sold it. So got rid of her minivan, and bought like a $1,500 Ford Tempo.
Wow.
With the crank up windows at the time. We did whatever we had to do not to go to that bankruptcy situation.
Yeah.
Although, we were advised like it'll stop everything. Don't, do it. And I just couldn't live with myself knowing that if I would have done it if I had did everything possible not to go there.
Yeah.
So
we got 125 people rounded up. I'm with Daniel Barrero. We're just talking about his beginnings with private money. 2 things for you. You can get 25% off of my private money presentation prospectus. That link is in the video description. That you can use that tomorrow, December 10th, for 4 p.m. My private money master class. Make sure you join us there. The second link in the video description, you're going to join our email list. If you're already on the email list, you don't have to do it again, right? But I will be giving away December 23rd 2 free 1-year subscriptions to Propstream, so you can pull data, do your skip tracing, mortgage information, all that stuff. So go to the video description below to get signed up for both of those. You were asking me, Daniel, was it that I was nervous to talk to people with money, or was it that I thought they didn't have money? For me, I was like, how can I go to these people and ask them for money? I felt like I was begging. I felt like I was needy when I went to these people, as opposed to offering them an opportunity to make money with me, which is what I offer now. You know, it's like, okay, this is what we do. Boom, 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 boom. Are you interested? Or do you know anybody interested? Let me ask you. Tell me about that mindset shift for you. I mean, I guess I'm reading your brain that that's the same way you think now.
I do. I think, thank God I'm not in that position that I have to go ask for money anymore. And most of the people that I would borrow money from on a private side would be family and friends. I have borrowed outside of that circle because, again, when you get to our level, right, Chris? Now people have confidence in you, and it's like when you needed money, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it from the bank. I couldn't get it anywhere, right? Now I don't need the money, and they're just like throwing it at you, right? So, but I think you and I have had this conversation. Now it's all about a matter of personality. Who am I gonna accept that private money from, that I don't have to be on a phone with every day or every week? Who's not going to be sending me emails, or what's the status of this and what's the status of that? I don't. If I have any inkling that that's the personality I got to deal with, I won't take the money.
Good time for it.
Yeah.
Well, once again, I want to rewind and go back some years. You weren't always like this. Were you? For you, I told you my shortcomings and my resistance to asking. Tell me about did you have any resistance, or
I had the
always
same resistance you had, and I think 99.99% of real estate investors, when they're starting, have the same resistance. It's a thing that you feel like, all right, wait a minute, am I going to go begging for this money? It's unfortunate, but yes, that's the way we feel. But I think looking back, if I had that mindset like you just described, where I wasn't asking for money, I was providing them an opportunity to make money. If I had that mindset, maybe it would have been different. Actually, I know it would have been different. It's not a maybe, but in the beginning, we didn't know that, you and I, right? And on top of that, there wasn't this platform that we're on right now, where everybody that's on here has the opportunity to learn from our mistakes. Right?
That's big.
I mean, this platform, the internet, has really provides you the opportunity to lessen the mistakes that people like you and I had made.
Flat Earth, what they call it. It's a book called The Flat Earth. That's what they talk about. The internet has just leveled everything. You can talk to somebody in Africa, in Asia. You can just cut a thing on it. It's flattened out. So, all right.
Without a doubt.
140 people. Daniel, I guess I'm trying to pull out of you. I want people to know that everybody has a beginning. Everybody has a journey. So were you borrowing? For me, I know we borrow, we put deed of trust, we give them insurance, all that stuff. Were you doing it like that, or were you doing? Tell me about.
You're a whole lot more sophisticated than I am when it comes to that. We've actually had that conversation too. Eventually, no, I never borrowed the down payment money. I was always afraid that if I didn't at least have that, I didn't want to fall too far behind the eight ball. What I would borrow, if I had to borrow private money, was the renovation money.
Gotcha. Tell me how that looked, Daniel.
So the renovation money, I mean, it all, things are different right now, right? So, and a lot of it we were doing ourselves after work hours.
What do you mean? You swindling him?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because,
wow.
We came up with that mentality. You had to do it yourself. So the hardest thing was to get out of the mentality of doing it yourself, because we were although we weren't paying somebody, we were leaving so much more money elsewhere on the table. The second thing was getting out of that frame of mind that we were begging for money rather than providing people the opportunity to have money or to make money. So that essentially we would always have the down payment, but we a lot of times didn't have the money for the renovation costs, and that's what we would do. A lot of times, and this is not something I would recommend. We would use our credit cards. I'd max out the credit card, transfer to another credit card at 3% for 6 months. And then at the end of that 6 months, right before it goes up to the 18%, I would go back to the first credit card and then have them pay off that second credit card and pay another 3%. So it was average about 6%. But that's really dangerous. That's not something I recommend for everyone. You got to be extremely disciplined. It's walking a tightrope. But again, private money is the best way to do it, assuming, and you make that other person feel safe. Maybe put their name on the deed, give them the collateral on the property. There's multiple ways that we could do this, and which is what is all in your package, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yep.
Right. There's so many ways to make that individual whole in the event that you can't perform, whether it be from injury, death, or illness, or the market changing. They have that collateral, so that makes them feel safer, and it makes a transaction a little easier as long as you have all the right paperwork and everything signed and right. You're documenting the loan. It's not well, you said this or I said that. No, it's all written down, and that's the best way to do it as far as I'm concerned.
So equity. So you're putting. I guess security. I don't even want your money unless I'm secured. Or you're the same way?
Precisely, right. So if I do that, I'm going to put your name on the deed, or sometimes a lot. I don't want to go through the process of getting the name off the deed and everything else. And most of the people they know who I am. They know my personality, and we've proven ourselves to who we are as far as character. So we'll do a mortgage, but it won't get recorded. That mortgage is signed. The mortgage and the note is signed. In the event I don't perform, they could go record it, and now they have a lien against the property.
That saves a lot of money.
It saves a lot of money. It saves a lot of money to everybody.
I never thought about doing that. So repeat that, Daniel, just so I get a picture of that. You're doing it almost like you're holding the deed and the documents in escrow.
They're holding it. I'm giving that to them to hold personally.
So they trust you to do what you say you're going to do. If you disappear or get struck by lightning, or if a UFO takes you off of the earth, they can go
record it, whatever the fees off to go record it at the courthouse and the county clerk's office, and it's done.
Take the house back. They proceed.
Right.
Wow. Y'all hear that, y'all? That is, Daniel, that's genius. So basically you're saving, let's say you got a $100,000 deed of trust. It's going to cost me $1,200 to $1,500 to execute it.
That's
Closing
right.
costs, recording fees, stamps, whatever. So if we give it to them, they have it there, but they don't necessarily have to record it. Wow.
On top of that, remember, Chris, there's a fee to satisfy
release
it and satisfy it as well. So, because now you got to pay to prepare those documents as well.
Man, that is genius. Daniel, that's why I love talking to you, dude. Yeah. Genius. So you're talking about, $2,000. But you got to record it, satisfy it. That's more stamps.
That's right.
I never thought about not recording the damn deed of trust. Y'all, I hope y'all give us a thumbs up. We got 160 people on here listening to that one, Daniel. That was a good one. Thank you. Yeah. Not recording it. So that way your investor is secured, but they don't necessarily have to spend the money. Well, I guess we'd be the ones spending the money on that stuff.
Yeah, but that's, again, so that's one of the reasons why that's, again, it all comes down to the personality of the individual. So, if I have to go record it because that person's not going to trust me, you know what? Then I don't want your money. I'll go to the next person, right? There's plenty of people who do. Because I don't want to incur that additional expense because that's going to, reduce my return on investment, right?
That's deep. That is deep, Dan.
And then, the alternative is I could split the savings with you, that two, so think, New York, especially New York, the numbers are much higher. That could add up to, $6,000-7,000.
Yeah, I'm thinking of no doubt. Yeah. So
My argument is it's $6,000. This is what it's going to cost us if you go record it. So I'd rather give you. Let's split that. You keep that. That's another 3,000 to you, and I keep the other 3,000.
wow. Give Daniel a thumbs up for that one, y'all. Have you ever thought about not recording? You know what? I'm adding that one. And you know what? That could be an option. I don't even think my investors would even care. They wouldn't even care, Daniel. They'd be like, you want me to record? Okay, I'll just hold it here. If you screw up, I'll just record it.
Precisely. But again, there's a financial benefit for them to not do that, right? There's a reason. I'm not just doing it because it's only going to it's going to be financially beneficial to me. They should make more money because they're also taking more risk. So there's a, the reward, there's a reward for that. The higher the risk, the higher the rewards.
Gotcha. So what advice, Daniel, being that you have been in the real estate business forever, what advice would you give someone we had that earlier call. I love it when I hear people talk about money. I mean, that is like one of my favorite topics.
Yeah, I actually can't wait to edit that and put it up on YouTube. That's going to be a really good video. That was Barry, right? You feel the energy coming through his voice, man. And he's so big physically. He's a big man.
We got to get him on my channel.
Yeah.
What would the gentleman asked about not having the money, Daniel? To me, the money is the least of my worries when I'm going into a deal now. It's like I don't even think about it, right? So people that aren't there yet, my thing is I want to pull them towards us, Daniel. I'm like, come on. Because I know the truth is there's more money out there than it is real estate. It's way more money than houses that you could ever buy. But I didn't start like that. So what can you do? What would you tell somebody that's starting out or is thinking that I need to find that money?
So I'm really old fashioned, man. You know my personality, right? We've had so many countless conversations. It's all about old fashioned, common sense with me, man. Live below your means, save your money, and simultaneously continuously educate yourself. So, if you're on it, you're watching us right now, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Watch Kris Haskins, read books. That way, when the opportunity arises, you could recognize the opportunity. The problem is that if you're not financially also literate, you're not, you may recognize the opportunity, but you can't take advantage of it because you didn't financially prepare yourself simultaneously, with both, saving money as well as mentally, financially making yourself literate. So it's a twofold thing. Take the time out first to learn. That way you could recognize the opportunities, and then you'll have a plan on how to execute that opportunity. So in my case, I still practice this. I'll live below my means.
It's crazy.
There's certain, and Kris knows, I drive a 2012 Honda Accord. Can I drive a $150,000 car? Absolutely. But that doesn't excite me. What excites me is, taking long vacations with my family, 3-4 times a year, going out to dinners. Well, before COVID, right? So, we all spend money differently, but I guess what I'm saying is there's always some place you could cut back. And then as the account starts to grow, in the beginning, it's really difficult. But as the account starts to grow, you find yourself cutting back on something else because you're getting more enjoyment watching that savings account grow, right? Now you got your down payment, or you got close to your down payment. Now when you go ask a family member or you go ask a friend, you say, look, we need a total of $60,000 for the down payment as well as the renovation costs. But I've got 40. Can you come up with 20? They're going to be more likely to help you because you have more of a risk factor than they do, right? Because you took the steps to go in the right direction. Now, that's the way I do it. That doesn't mean everyone has to. There's plenty of people that go out there and drum up those funds without any money out of their pocket, and you do a really good job teaching that. But that's what fits my personality, and what fits me doesn't mean that it fits everyone. Look, there's so many you and I come across hundreds of real estate stuff. and we all have different ways of doing it, and it all works, right? It's just a matter of what works best for you.
Well, I want to ask you. We got 30 questions here, Daniel. I want to
I would answer, but I don't see them, so I
Yeah, I
can't.
get them up. I'm paying for this one, y'all. And I get to talk to Daniel. The resistance to talk to friends and family, and it's different when you're asking a stranger. For me, I was a little nervous at first, but I'm like, shit, if I can't ask them, I want to ask you. What about the resistance talking to friends and family? Did you feel funny about that?
I
Because some
felt
people are like, I
extremely
don't do it.
funny. I felt like I was, it was beneath me. Is one thing. One of the feelings I had. The other feeling was like, what are they going to think about me? That I don't have no money, or I got no job, or I'm not making no money. It was all about what their perception was going to be. And then once you get over the fact that, I don't care what anyone thinks about me. The point is, what matters is what I think about me and how I'm going to achieve my goals. And it's like you said, if I had that mentality that you mentioned earlier, which is, I wasn't asking for a loan, I was providing them an opportunity to make money. Everything would have been different. Because that's exactly what we're doing, you and I, is we're providing people an opportunity to make money.
The posture. My thing is my posture. When I'm going to these people, I'm like, look, I'm not doing you a favor. I mean, you're not doing me a favor, giving me money. I mean, money's cheap. I can go borrow money for whatever. We're mutually benefiting each other. So it's not. Don't think you're doing me a favor.
Yep.
Lovingly, I do that. But so, would you say that doing business or your friends and family investing in you has been a good thing? Because people always like to say, I never do business with family. I haven't had that experience.
So I had a very difficult experience with a family member. And as a result of that, for like almost 15 years, I wouldn't do any business with family. But as I got over that, that stigma, it feels good watching people within your family. You're creating generational wealth, and you're keeping it all within the community of your family or your friends. And in my case, primarily my family, right?
Yeah.
So why am I helping somebody else make money that couldn't give, couldn't care less about me, right? Whether I was dead or alive, as long as I paid that note off, right? And not try to keep it within the family circle, and everybody continue to gain wealth from that opportunity.
You know what? That's a point of view, Daniel, that not a lot of people understand. I tried to explain that to my parents several times. I'm like, Mom, Dad, I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars in interest every year to these people here. That's a big mindset. It's a big mindset. Why am I paying interest over here when I could be literally paying you all this interest? I'm going to pay the interest to somebody. Is that where you're at? Is that I want people to understand that cost of money.
Exactly where I'm at, and it's funny. So, I went to my parents.
What's up, Bubba? You good?
So I went to my parents.
You got your bracelets? I'm listening, Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I went to my parents for a loan. I kind of felt like that's not cool because it's my parents, right?
Yeah.
But my parents ain't gonna say no to me or any one of my siblings. And of course, like, hit whatever you need, right? As long as they have it, it's yours, right? So got to the point where now I'm paying them interest every month, right? And it's being deposited directly into their account, right?
Then no, let's stay here for a minute. On time, every month, 100%.
Right.
I'm the same way.
So it's getting it now. So it gets to the point now when I paid in full. My father calls me up. He says, "Well, why'd you pay it in full?" I sold the property. I don't need it anymore. He says, "But don't you have another property you need it for?" I'm like, I don't understand. What's the problem? He goes, "I'm only making less than 1% in the bank. You're paying me 6-7%. I need, and it's there every month. Don't you need the money?" If the money sits there, he's calling me up. Don't you need more money? Like he gets this when I pay it off in full. He gets angry.
I love it. Round up. Thank you for joining us. 185 people with Daniel Barrero. Go to the video link. The links in the video description so you can get your private lending, your private money presentation, 25% off for tomorrow's class, and join our mailing list so you can be in the drawing for one of the 2 free 1-year Bubba's when your subscriptions to Propstream. What are you doing?
I'm not going to use a Sharpie.
Put my stuff back. Y'all be losing my stuff.
I was just putting it
These
back.
kids borrow my stuff, man. I gotta hide my stuff. I can't have nothing.
I've been there, brother. I know. Still there.
You buy everything, you
I'm
get nothing.
still here with adult kids, so I know. Trust me.
Okay. Round up, give us a thumbs up. Let's get to some Q&A. I'm just like, Daniel, this has been an honor. I asked you, friends and family, you're good with that. You got over that resistance. There was one other one I wanted to ask you. The interest, I think we covered it with the interest going out. You're paying interest, that wealth. Like, I have an expense every month. Why not pay you? Why not pay you? Did it take time for your people to understand that, Daniel, or did they get it?
So when it came to my parents and my siblings, they got it from day one. It was everybody else, right?
Because you're going to have the interest either way.
Right. I'm going to pay it anyway. The difference is when you're borrowing it, and I'm sure you've already just brought this to the attention of your audiences. When you're borrowing it from family and friends, you're not recording. You know, in my case, I'm not recording it.
But so you can, though. They don't have to do that. But
that's one less expense. The other thing is, you know, there's no application fee, there's no appraisal fees, there's no origination fees. You know, there's countless other fees that go along with that, right? So my closing costs are almost nothing in comparison to everyone else's. So, and again, that increases the return on investment, which allows me to pay more interest to the same people that that you want to keep it within the same generation wealth. That's going to make continuously. It's going to make future generations within our home family, within our own last names. We're creating a legacy together.
You got to know the skill, y'all. It is a skill in an art form. It's a skill to know how to set it up. Like Daniel, that's a skill, the way you do that. Then the art form is how you actually go about it. How do you talk to people about it? Round up, please. If you don't get anything from us today, if all you got was to understand the concept of private money, where we work with ordinary people to buy and fix up houses. Daniel Burrell, thank you, man. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me on. I love.
You got time? I got like 50 questions on here.
Yeah, let's do a few.
All right, I know you big time now. You apprendedora. Good evening, Austin. Could we JV? Yeah. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. Daniel. Oh, yeah, Daniel. Let me put your information in the comments. How do people get in touch with you, brother? Is it email or?
You can send me an email, danielburrell@gmail.com. You could go on to my Instagram, also Daniel Burrell Jr. or USA Land Ventures. So you could just click on danielburrelljr.com. That goes directly to my website, USA Land Ventures. You could always reach me there. Kris, we do that weekly mentorship class that you've been participating in every Wednesday. That's where I just came from now. We had a great guest on tonight, Barry Griffith.
Yeah, that was nice. Blake wants to know, what is private money? And do you give it your description, Dan?
When you're borrowing from anyone other than the bank, and as long as it's not hard money, it's people who actually know you and you're paying reasonable interest rates.
Yeah, they pay you. You borrow money from these people, Blake, based on them believing in you, not necessarily based on an appraisal or an inspection or the ARV and all that stuff. It's really them believing in you can do what you say you're going to do.
Right.
Now, if you suck or if you're like a new investor, I want you to kind of think twice about borrowing 100% of an acquisition, like Daniel was saying. People, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. If you say, listen, I got 40,000, all I need is 60. That sounds a lot better than I got nothing and I need 60. You can't steer a parked car. People love to jump on a car that's moving already.
That's right.
Whitey, what is the qualifying credit score needed to get private money? I like this one.
I'll let you answer that one, because I've never had to give my credit score to get private money. But I'll let you answer that one.
You just did. You do not need credit. I hope you're Ron LeGrand said, Kris, I hope your credit's negative 400. You do not need credit to borrow private money. You don't need tax returns, credit reports, bank statements. It was two other things you said: appraisal,
origination fees,
None of that stuff.
The underwriter costs, all that crap. Yeah.
Yeah, none of it. Private money is where we were tomorrow. The private money masterclass at 4 p.m. I'm gonna break down all that, how to set it up. So make sure you join us tomorrow. Nefarious, you took a loan of how much? I think they're talking about that first one.
Which
75,000. That first one with your grandmother.
Oh,
how much did you borrow for that 75, Daniel? There you go.
I borrowed the entire 75. And it was barely enough to just keep me out of it. Just kept my head above water. I made so many mistakes with that second property that I bought. It's so funny. That property was the property that I learned the most from in all aspects. How not to get screwed by contractors, because I got screwed by contractors.
We all have.
Yeah, how not to partner with the wrong person, because I got partnered with the wrong person. How to figure my way out of the biggest financial hole I ever put myself into. And I still own the property. The purchase price of that property was $235. We put about $400,000 into the property since. That was 1990. Property's worth about $6 million right now.
So 400 over 30 years. That ain't bad, man.
No, not at all.
That ain't bad. You're gonna spend money on me. What I've learned, man, when you have to show the universe that you appreciate what you have, be a good steward, what God has given you, but you have to maintain these properties or it will take you down.
It will. Yeah.
It will take you down. Man.
It's actually so I've been featuring an apartment that I'm doing over right now that the tenant just vacated after 19 years as a result of COVID. So that apartment is actually in that building.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So we've been.
Crazy.
If you go to my Instagram channel, or Facebook, you'll see it on there.
Gotcha. That's a good question. We got 210 people on here hanging out with Daniel Barrero. Go to the video description, y'all. Sign up. Get ready to go. Emperador said their bank is offering 2.75. How does the bank apply to this situation? It's not private money. It's not.
It's a regular bank loan, but
I wouldn't be bad at that, Dan.
No, I mean 2.75. My God, that's so. That. You got to remember when I started, I was paying 19%, 17%. Like when I hit 2.75, and then I figure out my mind is moving like this, right? Because as time goes on, the more deals you do, and the more educated you become, you really know all your numbers. Like so, for instance, Chris and I could walk into a house and we know exactly what we're going to spend, right? We don't need a contractor to tell us. Versus including our closing costs, and in addition to our tax implications. Right. And because why we've done this and we made so many mistakes. So, and we've learned from them. So at 2.75, your tax implication after your tax deductions, what are you paying? 1.5, 1.7
Wow.
After you deduct your interest costs because it's a deduction because it's a business.
Yeah, my brain goes to free money when I see 2.75.
It's free money. I mean, what are you questioning?
Yeah, I wouldn't even. I'd go get that. I'm not saying not to use banks, Emperador, Lopez. I'm just saying a lot of us can't do that. That's all.
Right.
Tomasa, do you recommend using 401ks toward rental property down payment, Daniel?
I do and I don't. I do it now where you use IRA money, self-direct IRA monies, and Chris Birch is great at this.
Yep.
Actually, he was on my third Wednesday night session. I do it now. I didn't do it when I started. No, I do it now because I have so much confidence in myself to do it with. To me, it's not a risk. When I go into a deal, the risks are so minimal. They're minuscule. Yes.
I think it's like I remember Patrick Bet-David was like, man, who you rolling with? Are you rolling with Danny Barrero? Oh man, you're gonna be good. You rolling with who? You rolling with Chris? Oh, you're gonna be good. You're good. Don't worry. Right? It's like that. You want
it's
that
exactly like that. It's my grandmother used to say, "Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are."
Wow, nice. I'm glad I can consider you a friend, man.
Yeah. You and I both, man. And you're mine, of course.
Yeah. Tomasa, I want to say yes. 401k self-directed only. I don't know anything about that traditional stuff. We use self-directed stuff. Birch, Chris Haskins gave me the confidence to ask. Now Daniel referred me to somebody. Follow my prospectus. That's right. You got to have a prospectus.
Yes,
Okay.
without a doubt.
Jamaica, good question. I want to borrow. Oh, somebody else. Thank you for your time, Daniel. I know it's 8:50 now. You tell me when we got to go.
No, whenever you're ready, brother. When it comes to talking about real estate, man, you gotta smack me to shut me up, man.
Me too, man. I'm like, I can talk this all night. Interest rates, private. It's so fun. Debbie, please speak to an accountant. Yeah, I don't know. You may have penalties. That's right. You might have penalties.
Yeah, that's why you got to do stuff with your self-direct IRA where there's attorneys that are involved and they do it all for you to make sure that you stay within, you conform within all the regulations.
Yeah. Matt, are your investors repaid with the straight debt structure, only interest, or equity structure appreciates the profits, Dan?
Depends in what time of my career that was. So now it's just interest only. In the beginning, I would give them a certain amount of the deal 5 years out, for instance, right? Mm-hmm. So I would refinance in 5 years after the property was fully renovated and the property was maxing out its potential profits and decreasing its costs, right? Because there's always different ways to reduce costs. So you reduce costs over the 5 years, you increase the revenue. Now the property is going to appraise at a much higher base point. Why? Because the appraisal is not only set on what other properties would purchase that, but also on the income and profit of the existing property. So I would do a deal at 5 years out and give them a percent of whatever the increase in value was then.
But Matt, I'm not going to be mad at you. Like Dan and I now, we could play simple interest, right? I feel this because if you rolling with me, your risk is so minimum. Even if the deal blows up, I'll just write a check and you done. I'm just like you have. I don't want to say zero risk, but your risk is so small. So it's like the less risk you take, generally speaking, the profit is a little lower, right? So the people like if we screw up, man, I'm like, here you go, just
exactly, yeah, because it's not worth the headaches and the time with the legalities and everything else. And plus, they're people right? You don't want to. Your name's associated with that, and your name is your brand.
That's right. Deepex, what percentage do you pay your private money investors, Dan?
It depends on the deal, right? So, if I go to the bank, I'm going to get a loan at 3.5%, maybe sometimes 4%, but that's not your real APR. Your real AP when you figure in the cost of that loan,
with points and stuff,
with everything, your real number could be at 6.5%.
That's true,
right? So I'll go to my family and friends and say, this is what it's going to cost me if I go to the bank with the numbers. This is what I'm willing to pay you. It's usually 1.5 less, right? Gotcha. So otherwise, I might as well just go to the bank and not have to, and then I don't have to worry about you bothering me every night or every other day, or asking me or thinking you're my business partner.
Okay, Chris, is there anything that could happen to you for not recording those documents, Daniel? Which the first time I'm hearing this one.
Not that I know of, because I'm in my paperwork. It clearly states that it's the lender's responsibility to record those documents. If they choose not to record it, that has nothing to do with me. Gotcha. So legally, no. It would be. However, hold on. I should change that a little bit. I'm just gonna.
You're good.
It can be if you go get a loan and on the documents you don't report that you owe money to person A. So I have a private lender for that prop, right? And there's a mortgage, although it not be recorded. When I go to refinance that property, I have to disclose that legally on the refi documents that I'm going to the bank with.
Yeah, just because it's not recorded doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I learned that a long time ago.
That's right.
It's because it's not.
So there's a moral obligation and a legal obligation to disclose it. Yes.
I think I want new people recording them, Dan. I don't want newbies.
Yeah, but new people always record it. And it makes them feel more comfortable. In my case, we don't record it. because 99% of the people that I'm doing business with know who I am, and we've done this multiple times. It's not the first time we've done it. There's a trust factor. There's a lot of different reasons why they won't record.
Mm-hmm. Good one. That's a good one, Chris. Brett, hey, that's a fellow New Yorker up there. She's a new YouTuber too, Dan.
Good for her.
Yep. And in real estate.
Is that right? Yeah. Reach out to us, please. Always looking for a fellow realtor, investor here in New York.
That's right. Yeah, there she is. Okay, we got somebody reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. Good for you.
Excellent book. Excellent book.
I don't know about asking my friends and family for cash to invest. I was there. I was with you, Britt.
We both were. It's that's an idiosyncrasy that that's within you that you got to get over. You're not asking them for money. You're giving them the opportunity to make money and to travel with you on your road to success.
And you know, it makes it to what I found it makes you have a better relationship. If somebody sees you, like you go over for holidays or whatever, like, man, I made $8,000 with this dude, man. Hey, what's up, Chris? Is it for you too?
They love you all of a sudden.
They like you more.
Yeah. Even if they don't like your personality, they're gonna still love you.
They love you, and they have a reason to call you. And it's like not just, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? Is the roof window? You get to talk about different things. I think it's been always cool to me. I have not had one problem with friends and family borrowing money.
I've had a brother-in-law say to me, "I'll lend you the money, and you don't have to pay me interest as long as I could just shadow you every day."
That's sharp.
Yeah,
that's sharp. I thought you said he loaned you money and he treated you like you when you loan money. I'm like, oh boy. Debbie, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah, you gotta have that. Let me get some questions. Figure out how to grow my savings. Oh, here we go. Trying to figure out how to grow my savings. I have a family that can invest, but they want you to have something invested. I would too.
Yeah, like we said earlier, it's easier to go and ask for money if you got as equal, if not more, risk into the deal.
Have something. I don't go to nobody. Matter of fact, it's one of my rules. I don't go to no bar from anybody that I'm not willing to put the money in. And I really think when you have that posture, man, you could just take over the world.
Absolutely.
Marquise, hey, can you recommend any books for literature, IRA, self-directed accounts?
There's a guy named Mark Kohler. He's all over YouTube.
Yeah. Mark Kohler.
He has a lot of free information on self-direct IRAs. Reach out to Chris Birch. Chris has a lot of information on how to do self-direct IRAs. Unbelievable guy.
You can just search my channel too. I mean, we've been doing it since 2006, Marquise.
Yeah, I think don't you have a course on that as well?
No, I need to put one together, brother.
I'm surprised you don't. You always come up with those sharp items.
I need to do that, man. I'd make a note of that IRA course.
Because you've done it as well yourself, right? I know you have. I have too.
I got my IRA. My wife, after being married to her for 7 years, finally converted hers over. She finally figured, hey, I know what I'm doing. My kids got college covered. They are IRAs for college.
Right. It's like 529 plans and things like that.
Yeah. They own real estate.
That's actually how so the degrees on that wall, only one of them is mine. The other 3 belong to my kids. The fourth one will be up in 2 years, but their college got paid directly through real estate investments.
Nice. Marquise, I was sent a lead, found out the property is listed as contingent. Do you either have experience? I don't know about that one. Daniel?
I'm not sure I understand the contingency, so it's difficult to answer that question.
I don't know. It's under contract, I would guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Richest Man in Babylon. That's a good book too. Yeah.
Excellent book.
Yeah. I have seen the word contingent before. That just means it's under contract.
Sometimes it's contingent on different performance on behalf of the buyer. There's a lot of times the contingencies are ridiculous.
Yeah, it could be a million things. You're right about that. Roundup, use the coupon code MONEY in the video description below to download my private lending prospectus for our masterclass tomorrow at 4. What's going on? What's the going? Oh, I'm sorry. Prop nice. What is the going interest rate for private money?
I'd ask you that question because in my case, I look at what it's going to cost me if I went to the bank and then I reduce it by 2 points, 1.5 to 2 points.
Yeah, well, the going rate from my experience is anywhere between 6 and 8% right now. Back in the day, it was 12, 10.
Yeah.
And it's going down.
Well, it depends who it's from, right? So if I'm going to outside people, I would say 6 to 8%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's Daniel's email, y'all. Daniel Barrero Jr. How long are you, Prop Nice, how long are you staying in the private loan?
It depends on the property, right? Every property is different. The bigger the investment, the longer it's probably going to be because there's more square footage, there's more renovation. It's going to take longer to get that property rented at market rents, and it's more difficult. I'm talking about multifamily. If it's a single family home, you should be out in 90 days. If you know what you're doing, you should never be into the deal for more than 90 days. 120 the max in case there's items that happen that are beyond your control. But if it's more than 120 days, you didn't do your homework. You did something wrong.
Well, every market's different. I mean, Daniel's speaking of him, he's always in a hot market.
Well, that's true too. So if I'm in, let's say, the state of New Jersey and the state of Florida, I mean, when I do my condos, if I was in it for more than 30 days, I was mad. I'm infuriated.
But Daniel,
if
30
it's
days, that's not
because
average market, bro.
It is and it isn't, because our target market were other investors were all cash deals and everything was under $100,000, right? Now when you move into single family homes, anything above 350, 1,700 square feet, now you're going to be selling that to an end user. So you should have your renovation done within 3 weeks. On the market that same week, you should have a contract already agreed on by week 4.5 at the most, and then you have another 4 weeks to 5 weeks for the financing and to close the deal.
Wow.
So, there's a time, you got to be hitting all cylinders. And if you're not hitting those cylinders, you didn't do your job. Because at the end of the day, it's not, the contractor could give you all the reasons in the world why he didn't get it done, but you failed to manage that contractor. At the end of the day, it's all on you.
Everything ends with me.
That's right. It all falls on you.
Prop Nice, we do year terms. So we have a year note. We usually pay it off in 6 months, anywhere from 4 to 6 months.
It all depends. Like if you're building out a house, if the house is a total gut,
all about
and then it falls into, let's say, the month of December, then you have to add more time to that, right? Because people are off for Thanksgiving, they're off for the week of, from Christmas to New Year's, and then on top of that, everybody in the buildings department, they start slowing down, a week and a half to 2 weeks before Christmas, or around the 12th of December, everything's pretty much shutting down. So you're not going. It's almost impossible for you to get the productivity out, right? So it depends what time of the year. There's a lot of variables that go into it. I'm talking when I was giving you those days, that's based on everything being perfect.
Yeah, I go into my deals like I know nothing's going to be perfect. That's why I do a year and then we pay off early. So, right. But then you got a crew that's just a beast, no doubt. I mean, we can't. It takes me a month just to get, we got to get all the rotten wood done, and the inspectors got to come in and make sure that termites cleaned and clean under the crawl space.
Like in New York City, it takes you 2 weeks to get an inspection, whereas in Florida, when I'm doing a roof, there's 3 inspections on the roof, and they come out all through the course of the day.
Nice.
And then the finals the following day.
Shoot, that's amazing.
So it depends on the region. It depends on the relationship the contractors have with the building department. There's a lot of variables.
504 Darling. Y'all put state city where you're coming from. I've made my mistakes in my first in a sense. Oh, big mistake.
Yeah, the real money's in the hold, man. I think that's trying to say. Yes, the real money's on the long term.
I always better in the long term. Mr. Troy, Is it possible to use a VA loan to buy multiple condos through a trust for Section 8 rentals? Thank you for everything.
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about VA loan. Never got one. Deepex, what percentage? We did that. We covered that one already. Lexi Lou, we did that one too. Interest rate 6 to 8% of what we're paying, depending on the deal. And Daniel covered that earlier. Deepex, do you borrow all the money needed for the deal, or just some of it?
I never borrow all the money for the deal. I don't feel comfortable doing that only for my own, because that's just my personality. There's plenty of people that do, and they do extremely well. So
That's
I
true.
can't say anything bad about them. It's
Why
just
you have money on the street, Dan? Because me, you pay less interest. You put your money out, you got no interest to pay on.
I mean, there's no right or wrong answer to that. We're all born differently. We all have different risk tolerance. We all, like I said earlier, we Chris and I know hundreds and hundreds of other real estate investors, and we all practice our business differently, and we're all successful at it.
Yeah.
So,
skin in the game. That's right. That's money in the thing. Dan, how many doors do you have now? Hiram Cordero.
I actually have a lot. I don't want to give exact numbers, but we're doing very well. Although I'm not going to lie to you, we sold off a lot of our doors last year. Actually, during the course of this year, because I strongly suspect that we're going to be seeing a lot of opportunity come available. Probably you're going to start to see it at the end of the first quarter of 2021, irrelevant of who's president. It's just a reality of the cycle. And I wanted, so we got rid of all our debt and then, drummed up cash to take advantage of opportunities.
Dan, we could keep going all night, man. I got to get in here to the baby. Final thoughts, Dan. Get you out of here. Round up. Y'all go ahead and go below to the video description. Sign up for the free giveaway Propstream 1-year subscription. You're going to get on our email list and download your private money presentation for tomorrow's masterclass. Dan, final thoughts. We'll get you out of here.
Final thoughts. Thank you for having me on. If you guys want to follow me, I'm on YouTube, USA Land Ventures. I'm on Instagram at Daniel Barrero or USA Land Ventures, as well as Facebook. I give out a lot of free information, just like Chris. Actually, it is because of Chris is why I'm doing this right now. Chris actually helped me dramatically with my YouTube channel, right, Chris? I mean,
you're in the YouTube and Internet Marketing Masterclass. You have to succeed.
Chris, when we first met and we talked, he was like, "Man," he goes, "Do you don't understand how much knowledge you got to share?"
That was crazy. You're like a walking daggone Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah, and I can tell you, Chris, it's happening exactly like you said. You told me I was going to have a good time doing it, and I am.
Oh, well, that is so cool, man. Thanks for letting me be on part of the ride.
Yeah, no, thank you for pushing me on the journey.
Yeah. So round up, Daniel. Final thoughts, Daniel, for people that need to get into using private money and without get away from the
get over the hurdle of feeling like you're not you're beneath it, or that you're borrowing. The reality is you're providing a service to those people to make money that they're not going to have an opportunity with sitting in the bank.
They're not. There's not. Now listen, I never forget. I have lenders calling me mad. What do you mean you're not using my money?
Yeah.
You get those calls? Like,
yeah, I get those calls like, I've offered you money how many times and you just don't want to take it. And I'm like,
I have money.
Nah, I just don't need, because again, it all comes down to if their personality. I know it's going to be a personality conflict.
You're paying.
It all depends. But again, you're asking people privately for money. You're not asking for a loan. You're giving them an opportunity to make money.
220 people on here, Dan. What about? I'm gonna let you go. I got one more thing. What about? Golly, so much I could talk to you about. You're giving them the opportunity, the private money. What I can't even remember. Darn it! Slip. What was it? I don't know. I can't even remember.
What the bad part is, as soon as we hang up, turn off. It's gonna hit you.
You were saying something about not going to the bank. Oh, I want you to give them a nugget, Dan. So does it start in their mind before they ask, or where do they? What?
I'm not sure I understand.
I'm building up to it. I want to get to this. Asking Uncle Joe, Aunt Teresa, whoever we're talking to, frame it up for them. How can they get the courage then to go and talk to them? What would you say?
The courage all comes just like the same way you get the courage to do the first deal, educating yourself. It's the same way you're going to get the courage to go ask for the money, right? So in the beginning, not as much now. Now I just make the phone call and they ask me how much, right?
Yeah.
Beginning, I had an entire booklet. This is what I'm buying the property for. This is what the comps are in the area. This is what the expected rent roll should be. Here's all the expected expenses, and I would add another 15% to the expenses on the monthly expenses for worst case scenario, right? And I would decrease the rent rolls by 15% for worst case scenario. So if it still makes sense, then I would present it.
You're good,
right?
Gotcha.
So even if I have a 30% error in margin, I'm still good to pay that monthly note. So
Nice.
The same way you had to prepare yourself financially and mentally through education to take the risk, it's the same, because that lessens the burden of risk, right? Well, you need to lessen that burden of risk for who you're going to ask for that money by providing them all the documentation based on the truth as to why this is a good investment.
I'm telling you, y'all, when you have, once again, I give you, that coupon code is, use the coupon code money, y'all. When you got a prospectus, when you go in and you like, look, we're doing this, Miss Butter, this is the pictures of before and after. This is how we pay our people. I promise you, when you have something in writing as opposed to just words, you look so prepared.
I gotta tell you, Chris, you show me your perspective, man. That thing's you've put together like an incredible package, man.
A to Z.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that won't be answered if you follow the perspective that you give out.
That's the thing. Yeah. You gotta look professional, and when people see that, they say, you know what, this dude took time to sit down and walk me through something because he knew I didn't understand it. You know, most people don't understand private mortgages. He took the time to get prepared. There's two types of people, ones that are prepared and ones that aren't. So get prepared and get your list of people that you can ask. Thank you, Daniel. Daniel Burrell, ladies and gentlemen.
And thank you, everyone.
This is nice. All right, guys. Get in the link description. Get signed up for the Propstream and for the Private Money Masterclass. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Subscribe to the channel.
Take care, guys.
Share it. Anybody that needs to get into this real estate game. 220 people, Dan. We hit a record tonight, brother. They love it.
If you haven't watched Kris Haskins' Baltimore 2 videos, you want to learn this game, watch those 2 videos.
Yeah, those joints, man. That was at 100,000.
Those 2, we did a great job. I mean, I didn't realize I was doing a great job, but the way you put it together.
I told you when I was doing it, I'm like, dang, you like Biggie. You like coming because you're from Brooklyn and you walking down the street. I'm like, this is
I was having a great time, man. You just tapped into the right moment too, man. You were asking all the right questions, and I guess my energy was coming right through it. Because I love it.
He was murdering. When I was doing it, I'm like, dude, you know how because I'm a music guy, right? I remember being in the studio. You know, you don't know. I did my internship with Pharrell Williams, by the way. I don't talk about it a lot, right? Being in the studio with this dude, to see him move, right? Kind of, he shaped a lot of my actions. My dad too, but watching Pharrell and Teddy Riley talk to people, but to hear these dudes do these bangers in the studio, right? They would play the song. They'd be like, man, we got some shit here. You know? And they would stop. Yeah, they would stop. Right? It would just be quiet. They'd be at this booth. I mean, at the mixing board. Look around. Man, we got some shit here. Call up. Man, we got something for you. So I'm like, I know the feeling when you see it, that it's like, we got something here, bro.
You did call me and tell me that. You said, yo, he says, we got something here. Like, you go, this is gonna be good. And I was like, yeah. But then I'm looking at the viewership that you're getting on the video. I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's got like every couple of days it went up like another 1,000. I was like, what is it now? Like almost 50,000 or 40,000? Yeah, I was like, for just one of them, not including the second one. I was like, whoa, man, I guess Kris was right.
Yeah, I don't think when I called you, yeah, guys, we're talking about the Baltimore. Matter of fact, let me put that up.
You gotta put those 2 videos up, man. I even put it on my YouTube channel. because it's like, I was like, man, this is great work. This is like really teaching moments.
Let me put it on here. So it's a playlist I'll put for you guys so y'all can see it. I'll put it in the description, and I'll also put this playlist in the comments, y'all. Sorry about that. Let me do this. Here's the Baltimore joint right there. Daniel just spitting, and then the camera work, because I just got my lens. I'm like, you know what? I got to freak this. I got Daniel here with the mics.
Yeah, that's right. You mic'd me up and all. I was like, what's going on, Chris?
Look at the granite. And you know what? All that was, you were literally being you. You were not acting. You were like, this is what it is. This is what it is.
Yeah, I had a great time doing it, but then watching, I was like, wait a minute, I think Chris was right.
I think the people thought it was right too, Dan.
So too, at this many viewers, something must be right.
Yeah, man. All right. Round up tomorrow, Thursday, 4 p.m. I'll see you guys at the Private Money Masterclass. Get you some private money in your life. It changed my life. Save Daniel's life. That 75 grand saved your life.
Save me. You have no idea. Saved me.
All right, y'all. Peace. I'll see you tomorrow.